Welcome to our tutorial on Facebook Messenger and how to use it as an effective CRM. So firstly, before we start, very important to understand why what we're going to go through today is so important is if you've ever run a messenger ad and start to generate leads through Facebook Messenger, you'll soon, very soon in fact, realize how difficult it is to keep up with those leads and manage them in such a way that you don't let any fall through the funnel or fall through the gaps. So I'm going to show you exactly how to kind of take control of your inbox in Messenger and ensure that you deal with each lead as if you were dealing with each in its own separate CRM. So I'm in our inbox now and I have all the leads on the left side over here, which we haven't archived. And a little bit about each lead comes up when I click on each lead. Now, what people typically do is when a lead comes in, they try and deal with it there and then. So here we have Mark Africa. Someone's trying to deal with him as that leads come in. He's interacted, he's responded. But the problem is that most leads don't finalize in the first interaction. So what that means is that they either don't buy there and then, or they don't identify themselves as someone that's not a good fit for a lead and exit there and then. So we're left with leads that we want to interact with, but if we don't properly put them into some sort of CRM system, then we forever lose that opportunity and don't know how to deal with them in the future. So I'm going to show you how not to do that. So number one, and this is the most important part of this, is labels. So labels is on the right over here, and you'll see if I go to manage labels, there's already a whole bunch of pre-populated labels that have been created by Facebook for me. And these typically consist of the ad ID of what ad this customer saw when they came in to become, or when they converted to become a lead. Now, these aren't really helpful unless I change the name to kind of give me some indication what ad they came from, but that's not really the most important part. The most important part is to really put each lead into a life cycle stage. So I know what do I need to do next on this lead. And I'll show you the type of system we use, and I think it's an effective methodology pretty much for every business trying to close the lead. So the first thing we do is create a few new labels, and the labels that I like to create are lead, number one, marketing qualified lead, that's number two, customer, number three, and the final one is dead lead, number four. Now once I've created my labels, I want to go about assigning at least one label to each lead that's come in. Now ideally you would do that as the person comes in. I'm now going to just for presentation purposes do it retrospectively. So I'm going to say choose just randomly Andre Oberholzer in this case, and I'm going to add a label to him. I'm just going to show you first how to do it and then what methodology to use in order to do it correctly. So I'm going to just choose lead, and now he's been assigned the label lead. And why this is important, that when I now search for all my people that I've assigned the label lead, I'll see Andre Oberholzer come up, and obviously I'll see a whole selection of extra leads or extra contacts that kind of fulfill the filter or the label lead if I added that to them. So very simple to operate and very simple to use, and this is the methodology that we use that we find effective. So when a lead comes in and it hasn't been dealt with, it will typically have, well not typically, it will have no label. So this person that I've just clicked on here at the moment has no label. Now when we filter all our leads and we filter a lead and it doesn't have a label onto it or attached to it, we know that no one has dealt with that person. Right? So when we do our filtering at the end of either no label, then lead, marketing qualified lead, customer, or dead lead, anyone that doesn't have a label, we know that hasn't been dealt with, and then we know, we have to kind of get on our processes and see who was supposed to deal with it and why they didn't deal with it and so on. So that's number one. As soon as someone has dealt with them, so now I've responded to Sine and I've dealt with her, and I'm hoping she's going to come back to us, but I don't feel there's a great chance that she's going to become a customer. I'm going to kind of leave it be, and if she comes back, great, but I'm not going to further prompt her to do anything. And because of that, I'm going to categorize her as lead. So in our definition, a lead is someone that A, we've dealt with, but B, we're going to leave to organically come back to us or not come back to us. We're not going to do a further manual action to try and prompt her. Now, over time, just out of the blue, Sinead does come back to us, and she shows amazing interest in our products, and we think, great, we now want to be on top of this prospect, and hopefully get them to close into a customer. So we've dealt with him, we've dealt with her, we've sent her back and forth emails. We now want to change her label from lead to marketing qualified lead. So for us, marketing qualified lead essentially means a lead which is fairly engaged, and we actually want to do a manual action, i.e. follow up on that person in future to try and push them to become a customer. So maybe we want to send them a special, maybe we want to just send them a checking in email or checking in messenger. So anyone that's under marketing qualified lead in our funnel would need an action to take place. So they would need a few prompts, 2 or 3 prompts, and from that point they will either become hopefully a customer. So once we've dealt with Sinead, in best case scenario, we deal with her and we send her a special and she likes the special and she takes us up on that special, we will then categorize her as a customer, right? And then we can search at the end of the month and view all our customers, and then do our return on investment report and say, great, we've spent X amount, we have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many customers we have, and therefore it's costing us X per customer. So it's very important to close the funnel to calculate if your marketing is working or not. Or worst case scenario, if she doesn't become a customer after our manual prompts, we put her as a dead lead, so that we know we mustn't use resources or time to constantly follow up with Sinead and say, hey, how you doing? She's told us no, she's bought another option or she's gone with another supplier, and therefore she's no longer of interest to our sales funnel. So as a recap, in terms of all the leads and the descriptions of the leads, what they actually mean. So we have, number one, we have lead, which is the first phase of the first life cycle stage that a lead or a prospect goes through with us. That's a person that's come in that has A, been dealt with, but B, doesn't show strong intent to actually purchase. So we kept them as a lead, and maybe they'll form part of a very passive messenger or very passive mail in the future, but we're not going to manually try and interact with that person. The alternative after lead, the next life cycle stage a person moves into, is marketing qualified lead, and that's someone who has shown interest in going ahead with us, but potentially needs extra manual interaction or needs to be potentially given a special to now proceed. Once a marketing qualified lead has been completed and they move to the next phase, they hopefully become with us a customer. Right, that's when they bought, and that's important, as I say, to identify different people as customers, so we know how effective our marketing is working or not working. And the last potential life cycle stage that someone can fall into is a dead lead, someone that we can keep in our messenger platform for whatever reason we want in the future potentially, but we're not going to spend resources or time to interact with. I hope that helps. That's really your basics of a CRM, is to kind of identify your prospects in some sort of life cycle purchasing stage. It's probably, for me, the most important part of a CRM, and incredibly crucial in something like Facebook Messenger, where you can really get flooded with an array of leads and becomes incredibly difficult to deal with if you don't have a way to properly sort them and deal with them. I hope that helps. If you did like the video, please click the like button. If you want to leave us a comment, please do so below. If you want to get more videos about Facebook advertising, Facebook Messenger, please hit the subscribe button and be on the lookout for future videos. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.